All right. Sweet. Yaat. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Yappening. This is going to be the first ever official, well, kind of official, native tea podcast. I guess that's what I'm calling it. I didn't really have an idea that I was going to give this a name, but I guess I'm giving it a name now. Now, we're living in the Stone Ages here tonight, so I am gonna just be putting my camera on my iPad and presenting to you all the information that way. In the future, I'll do like a... We got a duck? Was that a duck? I heard a duck. There was a duck sound all of a sudden. That's from my producer Brad. He runs the channel GovCorp Watch on YouTube. He also has a blog, govbanknotes.wordpress.com. And he's in charge of some of the sound effects tonight, so he's going to be interjecting with sounds. And perhaps a few, he'll give us his 2 cents. I mean, we're gonna need it. We all broke out here. Am I right? Yeah. So anyway. What was that? I got a message here. What's the deal? I'm reading the message. Okay, it's not as important as I thought it was. It's not an important message. Okay. Alright, well, there we go. Okay, so welcome to the evening tea edition. So we're gonna be going over the tea here. Get your bong, get your doobie, and we're gonna get started. And we shall let the yappening begin. Alright. So let's take a look at the topics that we got for tonight. We got some hot topics, alright. And we're going to be going through 16 topics tonight. First of all, Olivia Squizzle is replacing AI. Electronic spy chips inside Emirati aid. 15-year-old day in the life in Gaza, if we're going to pronounce it properly. Aboud Battah is free now. Friday of Rage for Gaza. I'm going to take another puff off the bong here. Oh yeah. Okay. Let me refocus that. There we go. All right. Next topic. Joe Biden apology to Turtle Island on the res. Moldy Lunchly. Hashem Nazli, English teacher in Gaza. Sora the Trolls, Dad sucks. Israeli settlers invade Tuwani in the West Bank. Olive farmer Hussam Abu Salameh murdered. APCO weapons firm entrances locked off. Winter clothing provided by Kuwait to Gaza. Ethan versus Hasan. Updates from Kamal Adwan. David Shurter, SRA survivor. The child killers keep sending me pictures of kids. Yeah, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna be leaving this podcast tonight on a cliffhanger with that one. So,
Hi, I'm Olivia Squizzle, and I'm going to replace AI. All these creatives lose their creativity.
so yeah, this came on my feed. I just thought this would be a funny one to start off with. So Olivia Squizzle is this young lass, and she's ready to replace AI because AI has been ready to replace everybody on this planet. And you know what? She's got just what it takes, all the mediocrity in the world. Oh, let's see what we got here in the chat. There's some people saying some things, but I didn't really read it. Oh, there we go. Some Portland, Oregon bullcrap. Okay, that's cool. Am I on the East Coast? Yes, I am. I'm over in Michigan, Michigamin. Let's see. Sure it is. Okay. Yep. Let's see. All right, cool. So, let's continue. Olivia Squizzle is replacing AI.
By pawning it off on AI. Well, I'm here to tell you, you can just pawn it off on me. You want the most random things? You want randomness? Go to me. You want really bad drawings of things that aren't real? Go to me. You want plot twists, songs, everything but kind of bad? Go to me. You think it's some sort of novelty to be able to say, oh, computer, what do you think? Well, why can't there be a novelty of what do I think? I can be the same sort of novelty a computer can be. I can replace AI. I'll create a hotline that you just call me, and I will send you everything you need. I will help you. And not just you, I'll help everyone. Pretty soon, every single creative in the world, instead of going to AI for help, they'll go to me. And I will dictate all of the stories that are created. I will single-handedly create all the media in the world. And it'll make us safer and happier. I'll create a...
Somebody in the chat asked if it was a hostage video, and I think that's pretty funny.
Outline of people that I personally hire to give you guys ideas. Bad animation. Lines that don't make sense. Dialogue that sounds like no one would ever say it. I got you covered. If you like the novelty of things being not that great, but coming from a place that makes it feel exciting, why can't that place be me? I am also a novelty. I am a source. I am a random generator, and I can create all the ideas needed for the world. Instead of AI, you go to me, and I single-handedly run all the creative flow. And with that sort of power, I can do whatever I want in the world. I can become the one above all. Yes. And the difference between me and AI is that I'm a person, more capable of pushing whatever my personal thought is. I am a person more in need of money, more in need of a job, more in need of a creative outlook, a creative output. AI doesn't create because it wants to. It creates because you want to. I create because I want to. So why not go to me? You want to create, I want to create. We shall create together with the creative hotline I'm setting up right now. As we speak, millions of my tiny drones are infiltrating all that is known, and I am the sole source, the sole creator of media. Don't worry, this won't cause any bias, any agenda whatsoever. Obviously, one person rolling everything is the best.
So, yeah. That's Olivia Squizzle. And, did I just get a notification? I didn't. Okay. But that's Olivia Squizzle. Iconic. Legend. I just found out about her today. I didn't really look into anything else she has, but I saw that she does a lot of comedy on her channel on YouTube. So feel free to check her out, Olivia Squizzle. Alright. But yeah, for real though, I think AI is going to have to watch out because she's ready to bring the mediocrity. She's ready. She's basically the Terminator, but for memes. Alright. Next topic. Electronic spy chips inside Emirati aid. Oh, is there are you arguing in the chat? Okay. So electronic spy chips inside Emirati aid. This is a real problem, because, so basically this is going on in Lebanon. Lebanon. As you know, Lebanon has been getting bombed by Israel, the IDF, the good old cult of, what they call the Khazarian Mafia. I don't know that much about that. I gotta do more research, so y'all can check me on that if you know more than I do on that topic. But if y'all lying, then y'all lying. I ain't gonna be... Anyway, so we're gonna take a look at these images here. This is from The Reality of Palestine on Instagram. Yeah. So there's a couple boxes there of the United Arab Emirates aid boxes given to, what was it, Lebanon. And I guess their flag is very similar to Palestine. Basically the colors are inverted when it comes to the black on the bottom and the green on top. There's a reason for it. I don't remember or know the exact reason though. It has something to do with like a, I don't know, maybe a similar empire. Anyway, so yeah, this is just the caption for it from the page. Electronic spy chips inside Emirati aid that arrived in Lebanon. Each blanket contains a chip. So
Hi, I'm Olivia
that's
Squizzle,
pretty crazy. Whoops. That every blanket, you'd think they might be a little more sneaky and put it in every other blanket.
Day in the life of a 15-year-old teenager here in Gaza. So
yeah.
I woke up at 4 a.m. to pray Fajr.
So this is Yusuf. I don't remember his last name, but Yusuf. So you can find him on YouTube or Instagram. I don't remember what other platforms he uses, but he's a 15-year-old. And I watched a longer video of him earlier talking about everything. And, you know, eventually we'll get there and I'll show you some videos of him. There's plenty of people from Gaza that we can learn about and learn from. So this is just a quick 1 minute showing his day in the life in Gaza right now under consistent and persistent genocidal bombing from the genocidal Zionist cult. So let's take a look at what his life is like out there in Philistine.
Day in the life of a 15-year-old teenager here in Gaza. So today I woke up at 4 a.m. to pray Fajr prayer, and then I went outside to get some fresh air. And then I came back home and had popcorn for breakfast. Which psycho has popcorn for breakfast? That was so weird of me. It was the only thing I could eat for breakfast, unfortunately. After I had breakfast, I went outside to get some internet. For the war, I had internet at home. So from having fast internet at home to having horrible internet, which is a few minutes away, is honestly depressing. And then I got my battery from the charging station. To charge it fully, it cost $1. Then I went back home and had dinner. For dinner, I had bread that was stuffed with cheese, and then I toasted it. And then I went to the kitchen to get hydrated and realized there's no water. So I went inside at night to fill up my water gallon at this water guy. It's $1 to fill up 1 water gallon. And then I went to sleep. If you want to see how it's like living in Gaza as a 15-year-old teenager, then go follow my page.
Yeah. It's kind of funny that he's actually wearing a NASA hat. Yeah. Hey, Brad, could you chime in real quick and just give the audience an idea of what NASA is all about? Or are you too busy arguing in the chat?
Sure. No, hello everybody. I'm Brad. Nice to see you. I'm producer Brad right now.
GovCorp
And,
Watch on YouTube.
You can hear me okay?
I got you right next to the mic. You should be good.
Okay. Just making, you can sometimes like the digital sounding of it is picked up and it doesn't like to play that through.
Boy, we're in the Stone Ages. I'm
technology.
filming this on my iPad. Let's go.
I know, it's so fun. Okay, so yeah, like NASA does some really cool things. They're one of the largest intelligence gathering institutions, along with the FBI, CIA, NSA, etc., etc. New York Police Department is also one of the largest intelligence gathering agencies. We're talking about NASA right now.
Yes.
And one of the most fascinating, let's call it new informations that we have, is that they do actually register anti-gravity spacecraft as admitted by NASA Chief of Security. The Chief of Security called me back and told me that they do actually register anti-gravity spacecraft. Now, they didn't say that word exactly, because they were being really, sneaky about the wording and whatnot, which is also one of the reasons why the context of what they were calling me back about is so important, right? And I was calling up their NASA general counsel, their intellectual property attorney was the one who I was put on the phone with to talk about how to register my anti-gravity craft, which I was LARPing, but it was a serious thing. It's not like you need to have a card to figure out how to register it, right? So I was just kind of pretending that I had this, and I was calling them and I was telling, hey, guy, I need to register this. And they, they freaked out, I hope. Obviously they kind of did, because they went directly to the chief of security of the NASA headquarters to deal with this, instead of actually calling me back as a lawyer, an attorney. It's weird that they treated it like it's not weird. They treated it like a security issue, because it is. Their secrets are blown.
Intelligence, security.
Yes, unsecurity, UN security, undependent.
Unintelligent, unsecured.
Yeah, so one of the things that, just so that people have a context of why NASA admitting that they register anti-gravity spacecraft is so important, is because it's the same model that people have for registering cars, certifying cars, registering airplanes, especially certifying airplanes. You don't really have very much certification of cars. In some states like California you do, but in a lot of states it's like, if you have a car, it's fine. It just needs to be registered, right? Like the emissions, emission standards, if you will, or like but California, you do actually have to have your car certified for emissions every time you get it checked up, that's a part of the process. And, you need to keep that up to date. Like you're, going to the doctor, you have to take your car to the doctor, to the state doctor, to make sure it's emitting under the, proper things. So, cars get registered, airplanes, obviously there's a safety, reason why there are statutes. You could say that you could just make it like voluntary and just say that it's like a public institution that does this, and you're not required to, but like it's highly recommended as U.S. citizens that you engage with the civil service of flying an airplane rather than just having mandatory registration.
You mean it's recommended or else?
Gosh. Yes, exactly. And what's interesting about that, of course, is that light airplanes, you don't actually have to register them or be a certified air pilot to fly. There has to actually be a form of air flight that doesn't require registration and certification to fly, because it's a public thing. The airspace is public. So there has to be a modality for which people can fly an airplane without registration of the plane or certification, certification and licensing as a pilot, okay, which is light airplanes. Like super light airplanes do not require certification or registration of the airplane or a pilot's license, which is actually the same thing as cars. There's a form of driving that doesn't require license, registration, and certification of cars, like mainly because it's the MCO and titles of this. I mean, that's a long story, but getting back to it, cars are registered, airplanes are registered and certified, and so are helicopters, so are trains, so are marriages.
So
Dogs and cats
what
are
you're
registered.
So what you're saying is like NASA is like the
They register anti-gravity
DMV.
vehicle. Yes, of space. They are the DMV of space. That's exactly right. They
Okay.
are the DMV of space. And
Perfect.
The last detail about this that's so fascinating is that according to the United Nations, they have the Office of Outer Space Affairs. There's actually an Office of Outer Space Affairs. You want alien T? Here it is. In the Office of the United Nations, Office of Outer Space Affairs, there is a treaty that says that everything that goes into space must be registered.
Okay.
So obviously, if you have an anti-gravity spacecraft, it must be registered. Even if it is classified, it still has to be registered, which yes, it does. Which is
I have a problem with
part of
that.
their classified programs.
I have a problem with that. Because they haven't been registering my farts. I think that that's enough for that topic because we need to start moving on to the next ones.
I know. I just wanted to fill in that last little detail. So that's okay. I'm out.
Yeah, we can
talk with your thing.
Yeah, we can talk about NASA more in depth. I just wanted to like a synopsis. So NASA is like the DMV basically.
That's correct.
Okay. How about a sound effect?
Those details are kind of interesting for a lot of people, and so I'm really pleased that this has been exposed. It's on my channel. There's a voicemail for NASA admitting to that.
We'll go into it more. We got a lot to get to tonight. All right.
Well, this is for another time. So.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to the next thing. Aboud Battah is free now. So what happened is that Aboud, excuse me, had been taken, kidnapped by IDF at some point yesterday, within the last 24 hours. And it says here, the occupation has abducted Aboud. And this was at the time of its reporting. And the person that reported it was Ahmed Hijazi. I don't remember if that's his name, but you can find him on Instagram. He's one of the many journalists in Gaza and right now. And it says here, the occupation has abducted Aboud, just as it has abducted thousands of young men, children, women, and the elderly, subjecting them to the worst kinds of torture, starvation, oppression, and anguish. This is kidnapping, not detention. Imagine what awaits Aboud and every person who has been abducted. Aboud is followed and loved by millions. Will anyone move for his sake, or is this just another story you'll see and move on from? And that's often back. So that's often the question that many people in Gaza end up posing to the outside world is this just going to be another story? Is this just going to be another number? Which was the question that was being asked before October 7th. Are we just going to be a number? Hence, we are not numbers was, and still is, it's still around, a poetry and journalism outlet for youth from Palestine to express themselves. And ever since October 7th, We Are Not Numbers has become unable to really report on too many people because of so many people actually being reduced to numbers. So, yeah. Let's take a look here at the timeline. So, today the positive news is that Aboud Battah is now free. And this is the reporting on it from Land Palestine. You can find them on Instagram. And he wrote in Arabic, thank the Lord who saved us, or thank God who saved us.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أنا عبود بطاح. شكرا لكل حد بعت لي يطمن علي. الحمد لله أنا بخير. طبعا اللي صار معنا إنه صحينا الصبح كنا موجودين في مستشفى.
And this is from his Instagram. That's just a little snippet of the video that he released as soon as he came out of miraculously from being kidnapped, like actually bound and taken by gunpoint with all the rest of the people. Aboud BT underscore Aboud ABOD underscore BT77 on Instagram. He is very young. He, I think, is turning 18 now. So when this all started, he was 17. Oh yeah. This is the quote. Thank God who saved us. And this is... So this is the translation, and this is very interesting what he says here. Very interesting. So I'll read it. I'll turn the volume down a little bit so that I can read over him talking. When we entered the hole, I was the first one in. I forgot. Fear makes one forget. I found that there were 3 soldiers, 1 who spoke Arabic, and 2 who spoke Hebrew. Wait, yeah, I tried to speak up, to speak up to pace. He told me remove the hat. Great. So I removed it, and they told me, you're Aboud Battah, huh? You're the one who posts... You're the one who posts the Sinwar and resistance. You're the one who says Tel Aviv is burning. He started showing his friends the videos. He opened my channel on TikTok. Then he says, this is the last day of your life. You'll die here. Where do you want the bullet? On your foot? I said no. He said, in your hand? I said no. He says, where do you want the bullet? I say here. He says, you won't die a martyr. I asked him, what then? Yeah. This is kind of crazy. I asked him, what then? You're going to hell. Look at my hands. I swear to God, I drove them crazy. I'm happy with that. And still in the city of Gaza in the north. Yeah, in the middle of it. Yeah. In the area of Gaza. And what's better than... In the middle of it. In the area of Gaza. Yeah. And what's better than that? Him trying to kill me. Oh my gosh. Man, this language is pretty fast. That is that he's trying to provoke me. He's filming a video of me. So I'm laughing. He says, you're a dirty person. He went crazy. Man, he just irritated this IDF, I guess. He went crazy. So what? He's trying to provoke me, so he burned my hat. I told him, burn it there. With the garbage. And when the officer came to get me, they started cursing him out. How are you letting him out? Imagine, I'm the first one to enter the hole. And the last one to get out. And they're standing around me. They want to kill me, that's it. When I got out, they went crazy. They took me to the end. They said, we're going to get you. We want to kill you. The army is a coward. So that's pretty crazy. That's the story of what happened when he was taken by them. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. That's a weird story. It's weird. I don't know how many people they've actually let go. But the thing is that the more people that they actually do let go, the more they're gonna have things turn around for the better on an individual level and on a grand scale. So, yeah. So the caption here says, Aboud is safe and smiling like always. He took his time with the soldiers to drive them crazy. Thank God for your safety. And that's from Wear the Peace on Instagram. Wear the Peace. They're a clothing line dedicated to human rights and all that. Okay. So, I don't know if there's any more on this. Okay. So, and this is the inspiration for this live. Friday of Rage for Gaza. This is from Land Palestine on Instagram. Important. From Gaza, everyone is called to join a day of rage this Friday in solidarity with Gaza, particularly focusing on the dire situation in the north. It is not right to support Palestine and then let it down when it asks you for half an hour of your time to participate in protests and marches to demand an end to the genocide in Gaza. Right. Besiege the Israeli and American embassies. Don't leave Gaza alone. And then this is an image for the Arabic speakers using the hashtag Gaza, hashtag Friday, _anger. Friday of Rage, 10:25 today. North of Gaza, civil defense, no health system, no food. And then this is the phrase, North Gaza is being exterminated in pretty much every language, so I'll read that in Spanish. El norte de Gaza está siendo exterminado. What other languages can I read here? Alright, we'll leave it on that. English and Spanish. Or English or Spanish. But anyway, this is a Holocaust. And yeah, it for sure is, because there's a lot of fire, because the word Holocaust means, like, it has something to do with being burned by fire. So, yes. And they also have a goal, Land Palestine, to reach more followers on Instagram than the Israel Instagram account. There is an official Instagram account for the country of Israel, or the state rather, the cult state of Israel. Yeah, so go ahead and follow them on Instagram, you know, for funsies, why not? Okay, next topic. Joe Biden apology to Turtle Island. Oh, let me change the mic. We're not listening to a video now. You can hear me better, okay? Joe Biden apology to Turtle Island on the res. Yeah. President Joe Biden will offer a long-awaited apology for the United States history of Indian boarding schools in his first trip to tribal lands. Friday, October 25th, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. So that was earlier today. Yeah. And he was set to speak earlier today at the Gila River Indian Community. Yeah, and that is there over near Phoenix there. So is generally near the Dnipro, I guess, or in the Dnipro region. So like the Navajo land region. Yeah, as you can imagine what all the natives were saying on Instagram about that. Sheesh, we're having a heyday with that one, Yeah, I for sure have my own sassy words to say. I mean, after all... after all, when you look at him, that scalp looking pretty nice, eh? Okay, but... yeah, right. But I don't condone violence. I just condone anarchy, okay? Which, for those of you that don't know what anarchy is, it means no masters, no slaves. That means everybody has a right to self-defense. Everybody has a right to ending genocides wherever they may be. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next topic. Ooh.
In the acknowledgement
So
of the
we're gonna
Lord,
take
they
a little
confess
break.
Their attraction to Rosanna Pence.
Yeah, we're gonna take a little break from the, you know, the stressful topics for just a brief moment. Take a little breather, and we're just gonna, exactly, we're gonna kind of take a moment to forget about everything. Because everybody needs a moment of escapism, even if that is closing our eyes and deep breathing. For us today here, because we're here at the Native Tea podcast, it's going to be some regular old plain tea. Not no important tea. This is just some... I mean, technically this can be important tea because this is actually a health hazard, what we're going to be talking about. So if you have kids out there, keep them away from the Lunchlys, okay? Keep them away. They're a Lunchable knockoff. They're made by the Three Stooges of the internet, KSI, Logan Paul, and Mr. Beast. And Mr. Beast, boy oh boy oh boy, he's been getting he's been getting canceled for hiring predators and all that. So, like, he's just been racking up them skeletons, all right, in his closet. So we're gonna get into the tea here. This is Adam McIntyre. He's a young Irishman from Dublin, I think, maybe. Yeah. And I've been listening to him for a few years on and off, but lately he's been spilling that hot tea. Okay. And now oh, this isn't the other thing about Colleen Ballinger. This is about the Lunchly thing. For a second, I watched that earlier. So, that tea is actually not really important. I don't think I'm gonna really bring that up, but you know, he's knee deep in the tea. That's all I gotta say. Okay, we're gonna spill.
In the acknowledgement of the mold, they confess their attraction to Rosanna Pansino. I'm not kidding, and we'll get to it. But anyways...
Context. So the Three Stooges have made a new Stooge podcast where they get together and stooge it up. And so that's what he's referencing, is that they were talking about the whole thing where the internet recently was like, there's mold in the Lunchly. And they were clowning on them for that. But also, like, you know, raising red flags and, like, pretty much, you know, everybody was like, this isn't good. So yeah, that's what he's talking about, is them talking about it on the podcast.
In the acknowledgement of the mold, they confess their attraction to Rosanna Pansino. I'm not kidding, and we'll get to it.
And Rosanna Pansino, context, she has been canceling Mr. Beast because she's got the receipts, okay?
But anyways, is we have another streamer who was testing out Lunchly and found mold in it. Now, this one is a little bit of a different story, and I find it very, very, very interesting. So, there is this streamer that we're going to dive into right now, but they basically said that because Rosanna Pansino, in their opinion, was kind of this like biased source against Mr. Beast, they wanted to figure out for themselves whether or not Lunchly was as bad as what people were saying, whether it was moldy, whether you could go into the store like Rosanna did, buy one, and you open it, and it is moldy. And so they set out and they did this little challenge where they tried to buy as many Lunchlys as possible before they found mold. And a lot of their audience didn't know if they were going to find it, and it was this big thing. Basically, they were trying to see whether or not it's realistic, like you would go into a store and find a moldy Lunchly, or was Rosanna Pansino a bias source, right? Now, I fully believe Rosanna in opening the Lunchly and finding mold. She has already posted the raw footage, and I think we have endless other people online that have showed moldy Lunchly that they have gotten, that I don't think it takes Rosanna Pansino, you know, not liking Mr. Beast and rightfully so calling him out for other things to take away from the fact that they're literally selling cheese that has allegedly so little preservatives in it that it is getting moldy before it can even get in your hands. And again, as someone who has consumed Lunchly for a video,
Yeah, he finishes that up by saying he's very scared for his well-being right now. I'm sure he's fine. Like, if he only had, like, one Lunchly, he's probably fine. A little bit of mold. It's not like he sat around eating it, like, left and right? So I think he'd be fine. Oh, do that one more time with the, there we go. I had to switch the audio on the mic. Okay. So that is the tea there with Adam McIntyre going over the Lunchly situation. Next, oh, that's a little image of the Three Stooges there. I forgot to pull that up.
in the
There
acknowledgement
you
of the
go.
mold, they confessed.
All right, so now this is Hashem al-Nazli, English teacher in Gaza. So he's a certified English teacher from Gaza, and this is a little preview of his Instagram profile. He reached out to me a few months ago asking for some help, and so we're giving him a shout out here today. You know, he, much like every other regular person from Gaza, in Gaza, and Palestine, because there's so much more going on that we're going to get into as well. You know, everybody just wants life to go back to normal. So, you know, him being a teacher, he just wants to go back to doing his thing, right? And however, a very basic thing that you and I can go and do at the grocery store, go buy a little bit of bread, it's a several hour long absolute nightmare to do that. So
I have to fight and wait for more than 5 hours to buy some bread. It's really exhausting. Please press buttons if you cannot donate $5.
yep. So yeah, if anybody out there in the ether, in the void, is able to and ready to do what they can to help in the present and in the long term, this is one way to do it. You can help support Hashem Nazli. And that's his little Instagram card, so you can find him on Instagram. HASHIMNAZLI. Alright. So let's get along to the next topic. I think I gotta pause this real quick. I gotta do something. I'll be back in about we're gonna take a little, what's it called? Intermission. We're gonna take an intermission for about like 5 minutes roughly, a couple minutes. Alright, so yeah, exactly. Alright, we'll be back. I'm gonna I don't know how to pause it. I'll figure it out. Alright, we're back from the intermission. I just chugged all that water. Okay. Let's get back into the tea. So we just had some tea from Gaza, and I guess for context, I'm not really using tea strictly as a drama word. I'm also using it to mean like important information, I guess. So okay. Yeah. So, oh, let me get my keyboard back on. My keyboard turned off. Okay. So, next topic. Ooh, this is gonna be more tea, so everybody, we can just sit back for a little bit when it comes to this, and we're actually just gonna be, like, force-fed the tea by Sora the Troll. Now, what makes this story that I'm about to get into pretty interesting is that Japanese people are very private. They like to keep to themselves. They don't really talk about what's going on in their personal lives. So, what makes this interesting is that this is a guy I've been following a few years on YouTube. His name is Sora the Troll. He actually was inspired to make his channel because of Filthy Frank. So, if you know Filthy Frank TV, Joji, Pink Guy, all that. From the classic edgelord time on YouTube. Which is funny because when I think about it, it's like what? That was like roughly almost 10 years when he left. That was about 10 years after YouTube took off when he left. Doing that character anyway. I digress. Sora the Troll. So he's a Japanese dude who basically, he does voice acting, and he also, but however for his channel, he just goofs around and does whatever he thinks is funny. And so, yeah, he's just a big troll, just a big meme lord. And so he's basically been spilling some tea though lately, from his personal life. Yeah. And this is something I didn't really expect. 2 years ago, roughly, he did a live stream where he was talking about why he cut off ties with his dad. And I didn't really watch that at the time, although I was kind of listening to him in and out from that time, here and there. So I didn't really get the tea then. But now, oh my gosh, this is the tea. So I'll fill you in though. Recently, he did a live stream because of all this drama. Well, not actually because of all this, but because of a different topic. And he decided to talk about his dad a little bit. Now, this is not really public information that he's consistently talking about. He only mentioned it once, and I think that was his intention, was to keep it there in that that one stream. So basically, his father is a part of a cult in Japan. And I don't know exactly what cult, but it's a pretty prominent, well-known cult. It's very well-known in his town, so his father has like some sort of prestige as a result of it. He's not like at the top, but he's pretty important. And so yeah, that's just a slight bit of context about who Sora's dad is behind the scenes, and it may kind of put some pieces of the puzzle in terms of what we're going to get into here. So Sora posted earlier today an update to this drama that's been going on with his dad, and we're going to get into that. Sora's going to just tell you about it. So here's the update, and we're going to go backwards in time, and Sora's going to tell you what's going on. So he wrote today, LOL, my dad's situation just got 300 times worse, and my mom is thinking about losing all her belongings, apparently $50,000. Now, it truly got insane. So I'll upload a video about this tomorrow. We have to meme my dad now. Yeah. So that's an update. And yeah, and there you go. You can read it now for yourself.
Story short, my family is being taken advantage of, and now my mom has zero savings, while my brother is $10,000 in debt. Okay, this is a crazy story, but this person has been using my entire family, including me. So
We back. Alright. We're getting back into the back. Alright. We're getting back into the tea here.
a family, including me. So I'm here to return the favor by using them for content on my channel. I'm just going to make this guy a meme on my channel. I guess this is basically my Sasuke from Naruto moment. Whole family is used by my own dad. It makes no sense, but somehow he's $50,000 in debt, and now he's making my mom and my brother cover for it. My mom doesn't have much either, so she ended up using the inheritance she got from her parents. I know this is shocking, and I never make videos like this on my channel, but it's insane that my own dad is taking advantage of us, so I wanted to use this situation for content. Yeah, I'm definitely Sasuke from Naruto. Although, full disclosure, I've never actually watched Naruto. So I don't know if you guys caught the stream I did 2 years ago, where I talked about how my dad had been using me for years. To explain what's going on now, I need to revisit that situation. It was around 2015, I think. I was living in our old house with my mom and dad. I have a sister and a brother, but they are both married and have kids, so they didn't live with us. One day, my brother suggested, hey, why don't we buy a two-family house with mom and dad? And my parents agreed. So my mom, dad, brother all bought a two-family house together. Then they started wondering what to do with the old house since it was too old to sell. I asked if I could keep it as my place since I was doing YouTube and voice acting back then and needed an office. So they bought the two-family house and I was supposed to take over the old house. A week later, my dad suddenly moved into what was supposed to be my house and demanded that I pay him rent. I thought, wait, wasn't this supposed to be mine? But then I figured, well, he raised me, so maybe it's fair. So I paid him rent. Long story short, I ended up giving him about $30,000 in total. When I told my mom about that, she was shocked and said, why is he charging his own kid for rent? But I was like, well, he raised me, so I guess it's fine. Then, about 2 months later, things got weird. I started hearing, let's just say, adult videos blasting from his room. And it wasn't just at night, it was in the middle of the day too. I actually found it pretty funny at first, but it went on for 2 years. Even when I had friends over, everybody could hear it, but I just treated it as a meme. Then one day, he told me, the first floor is mine, you stay on the second floor. And I thought, wait, this house is under my name. I'm paying for everything. But again, I didn't say anything to avoid conflict. My brother and mom eventually found out and were shocked. But we still didn't do anything about it. Since I'm a YouTuber and it made... Story short, my family is being... Middle of the day too. I actually found it pretty funny at first, but it went on for 2 years. Even when I had friends over, everybody could hear it, but I just treated it as a meme. Then one day, he told me, the first floor is mine, you stay on the second floor. And I thought, wait, this house is under my name. I'm paying for everything. But again, I didn't say anything to avoid conflict. My brother and mom eventually found out and were shocked. But we still didn't do anything about it. Since I'm a YouTuber and a voice actor, the noise started affecting my work. So I decided to find a place with a soundproof room to use as an office. I found nearby for a great price and told my dad I was thinking of moving. And his response, I won't allow you to leave the house. I didn't get it, but I promised him I'd still pay rent for his house even after I moved. So I bought the new place. While I was moving my stuff, he suddenly started raging and told me to get the F out of the house and never come back. He kicked me out of a house I owned and was paying for. It made 0 sense. Story short, it made 0 sense. At the time I streamed about this whole situation, my family agreed it made no sense, but we just left him alone. Thinking maybe he had dementia or something, but my dad denied it. Fast forward to now, and I got a call from my sister this morning. She tells me, Dad is $50,000 in debt. Someone needs to pay it. come meet him. But here's the thing, he makes $100,000 a year and owns his house outright. He has no major expenses, so how is he $50,000 in debt? And why is he asking us to pay it? I have a pretty good idea why he's in debt based on his late night activities, but I'll leave it at that. I told my sister he already used me for $30,000 a couple of years ago. I'm not meeting him. So my sister, brother, and mom met with him, and my dad told them, I've been in debt since 2008, and I've never been able to pay it off, which is probably a lie. It makes no sense how someone making $100,000 a year and can't pay off $50,000 over 16 years. But for some reason, he's dumping this debt on us. So my mom and brother decided to cover his debt. My mom inheritance, and my brother, who has a family of his own, took on the rest. Now my mom, at 64, has no savings. When I called her to ask why, she said, I don't want to be a burden to you anymore. So I told her, I'm in a better financial position than you, so I'll pay for it, but I'm never talking to Dad again. She just said, if I ever need help, I'll let you know, but don't worry about it for now. But I told her, Mom, my brother has a family and you have no savings. I'll cover it. But they didn't want me to, since I had already paid $30,000 to my dad. So now my mom and my brother are in debt, paying off my dad's bills. I was used to before, but now my dad is using the rest of my family. So I thought, fork this, and decided to make a video about it. My dad is going to be a lifelong meme on this channel. Like, if you hear any crazy things, or if you hear any suggestive things, you just go like, oh, it's Sora's dad. Otherwise, I'll end up like Vegeta from Dragon Ball. They told me not to worry, but I'm planning to pay off everything and save up for my mom. So I'm sorry for saying I wouldn't do memberships or anything on my channel, but I'm turning memberships on for real this time. I've always said I wouldn't do memberships, Patreon, or merch, but with my mom's situation, I need to. She's like 64 and has nothing saved. So I'm still not going to turn my channel into a money grab, but I will enable memberships and maybe do some members-only streams. I don't have a Discord, but I'll treat those streams like my Discord server. I will still avoid focusing on subs, views, or revenue. I will still do cringy things on my channel. I just kind of wanted to save up for my mom without making my channel all about my money. You know what I mean though? So yeah, don't be cringy like my dad, or if you are, at least don't use your own family. It makes no sense, and will turn everyone into Sasuke from Naruto.
Yeah, I watched that live stream.
Seriously don't know how this is happening. I seriously don't know how
This is the update from today.
we are letting him do this. This situation is even worse than letting bronze players teach you how to play games. I really hope this video is fake and clickbait and cancel Sora troll for faking everything, but this whole thing is somehow real. And it's happening within my family. Yeah, my dad's situation just got worse. My mom basically is about to lose literally everything she has because of my dad, who's in debt for buying interesting services. Like, not only her money, but my mom is literally about to lose everything she has. Like, all her belongings. Because of my dad being in debt for buying interesting services. I don't know if there are any villains like this in any anime, but as far as I know, this is one of the craziest villains in real life, at least. If you guys are curious about what kind of interesting services my dad has been buying, I will just let you guess. But it's more degenerate than any of the things you've seen on my channel, as far as I know. It's something he has to do behind everybody in my family, and he thinks we don't know. But I know everything, but I'm not gonna talk about it here on my channel. So the villain in this story is my dad, who became infamous for blasting adult videos 24/7 while mourning to it, and told me to pay for the house I owned, which makes no sense and sounds like a story written by an internet troll on Reddit. but this is non-fictional. Yeah, that's my dad who watches adult videos and he goes, ah, while watching them from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. all day long. For my dad, watching adult videos is so immersive that he couldn't stop moaning, or rather screaming, watching those. So instead of screaming technique names like anime characters, he moans real hard. Yeah, that's the villain in the story, and now lawyers are involved. He really messed up this time and his life is pretty much over now. Like actually. And I guess he decided to ruin my mom at the same time too. Yeah, like, I'm done, so you get down with me energy is basically going on here. Like, this energy is pretty much like the same as online game players who throw intentionally to get everybody involved. So let me explain what has happened really quick for those who hasn't been following my dad's lore. So, there's my dad. 3 years ago, he used me and generated $40,000 from me and kicked me out of the house I owned. Which still makes no sense, but it actually happened. And 3 days ago, or maybe 2, he called my sister and told my family he is $50,000 in debt and basically told my family to pay for it, which is quite hilarious. He basically did this thing where kids say, Mom, I bought V-Bucks with your credit card as a 64-year-old. But he doesn't play Roblox or Fortnite. He just did shady stuff and is trying to make my family pay for it. Long story short, my mom decided to use her inheritance and cover $15,000, and my brother decided to cover $15,000, and they decided to make my dad pay for the rest, like $20,000, as it's his own shady debt. And I made a video about 2 days ago and decided to give my mom $10,000 because she's about to lose all her savings and she doesn't truly deserve this. So that's the recap of this horribly written cringe story coming from Japan based on what's actually happening in my family. And yeah, it got worse just now. Yeah, my dad is legit just a cringe villain at this point. I want you guys to meme about him everywhere and I will give you permission as I got permission from my brother. Okay, 8:11 p.m. in Japan time today, I got a phone call from my brother. He sounded extremely exhausted and he kind of said he's sort of depressed and is about to be done. So I was like, sup, what's going on? Did you watch anything cringy on my channel or something? And he was like, as to that, we have to cut ties with him. So I basically started clapping and I told him, dude, I already did that a while ago. I'm ahead of you, wrecked. And then he was like, yeah, but I need your help. He sounded quite serious. My brother is a troll like me, and I've never heard him say, I need your help. So it's that situation. So according to my brother, the situation's now this. My dad has to pay $20,000 as it's his debt. But as a cringe villain, he doesn't know how to make that much money, because he's simply cringier than any of the streamers that caused problems for views in 2024. So my family told him to sell the house he lives in now, which he kicked me out of after generating $40,000 from me, and I own the house, by the way. When my family told him to sell the house to pay for his debt, my dad apparently said, no, losing the house means he has to live with my mom and my brother, but he really doesn't want to do it because he buys interesting services, you know what I mean? He wouldn't be able to do that if he lives with my brother and my mom. And my dad basically said, I won't sell the house, F off, to my brother and my mom, while making my brother and my mom pay for his own debt. Like, well, what's the actual... I don't know what that F-off energy came from, but you know he's that guy from GTA now. And my brother was apparently checking real estate related websites and he found my dad's house being on there. So my brother got real confused as my dad said, I won't sell the house. So my brother just went to my dad's house and asked him why dad's house is on those websites. And my dad raged real hard. Like, really hard. Think of those Call of Duty ragers, but 10 times worse, and it's happening in real life, but it's coming from your own dad. And this situation makes no sense as he's forcing my brother and my mom pay for his own debt. So long story short, my dad told my brother, this is my house and stop telling me what to do in the worst way possible. And my brother basically told me my dad's ragey controlling behavior has been there for a while, and he was quite stressed out and depressed. So he wanted to cut ties with my dad completely. So I was like, lol, I did that a while ago. Wrecked. But then here's the thing. It's apparently not that easy, and he needed my help to make it happen. And according to my brother, lawyers are involved with this situation now, but I won't say much about it for obvious reasons. So my dad is in $50,000 debt. My brother is going to cover $15,000. My mom's going to cover another $15,000. My dad has to pay for pay and cancel Sora Patrol for faking everything. Pay and cancel Sora Patrol for faking everything. And he kind of said he's sort of depressed and is about to be done. So I was like, sup, what's going on? Did you watch anything cringy on my channel or something? And he was like, as to dad, we have to cut ties with him. So I basically started clapping and I told him, dude, I already did that a while ago. I'm ahead of you. Wrecked. And then he was like, yeah, but I need your help. He sounded quite serious. My brother is a troll, like, don't sell the house. F off. To my brother and my mom. While making my brother and my mom pay for his own debt. Like, well, what's the actual... I don't know what that F-off energy came from, but you know he's that guy from GTA now. And my brother was apparently checking real estate related websites, and he found my dad's house being on there. So my brother got real confused as my dad said, I won't sell the house. So my brother just went to my dad's house and asked him why dad's house is on those websites. And my dad raged real hard, like really hard. Of those Call of Duty ragers, but 10 times worse, and it's happening in real life, but it's coming from your own dad. And this situation makes no sense as he's forcing my brother and my mom pay for his own debt. So long story short, my dad told my brother, this is my house and stop telling me what to do in the worst way possible. And my brother basically told me my dad's ragey controlling behavior has been there for a while, and he was quite stressed out and depressed. So he wanted to cut ties with my dad completely. So I was like, lol, I did that a while ago. Wrecked. But then here's the thing. It's apparently not that easy, and he needed my help to make it happen. And according to my brother, lawyers are involved with this situation now, but I won't say much about it for obvious reasons. So my dad is in $50,000 debt. My brother is going to cover $15,000. My mom's going to cover another $15,000. My dad has to pay for the rest, but he can't unless he sells the house. But if he sells the house, my dad has to live with my brother's family as it is supposed to be a two-family house. But my brother is completely down with my dad, almost to the F that dude point. So my brother doesn't want to have my dad in the house. So he told my mom about it. Then my mom basically decided to pull out all the secret belongings she had, all the secret money she had, literally everything she had to generate $50,000 for my dad instead, and she decided to pay for all my dad's debt herself, as she doesn't want to cause trouble for us, like her kids. This is truly insane, and I seriously didn't know my mom was hiding her ultimate technique, like the characters from the anime called Bleach. But then my dad is like, lol, I mean, if it works, it's whatever. Yeah, like, this dude is actually a villain in real life. Like a
Yeah, I'm sure you can guess what those services are.
In real life. Like a crazy one. So my brother decided to call me as he doesn't want our mom to pay for the villain's debt as she doesn't deserve it. My brother wanted me to pay the half of my dad's debt so our mom doesn't get used by that cringe lord for 2069 anymore. My brother basically said, I'll pay $25,000. Can you pay another $25,000? And I said, I mean, I knew it was gonna happen, so I was going to either way. So I accepted his offer. Then our mom wouldn't be in debt and she doesn't have to lose literally everything she has for that cringe lord. So that's the story. But let me just answer some of the questions I will probably get in the comments beforehand. 1. Can't he just file for personal bankruptcy? He apparently can't with that amount. And the guarantors are his family, so us. 2. Can't you just ignore him? The guarantors are apparently us. We have to deal with it, and my mom decided to be a protagonist, but my brother wants to stop it. 3. Why is your mom still married to the cringe lord? We've been curious, and my brother's going to tell my mom to get divorced. According to my brother, she'll say no to our money offer too, and she won't probably get divorced, but let's see. 4. But that cringe lord is still going to be in debt even if you pay for it. My sister's working on it and she just blocked my dad from being in debt, which means he can't use a credit card or he can't borrow anymore. 5. Why are you doing this video? Well, that cringe lord is using my family for money, so I'm using him for content. And I'm going to meme this cringe lord on my channel forever. Oh yes, and I'm using this cringe lords to advertise my memberships. I spam streams in membership streams, so if you wanted to actually talk to Sora, join it, and I'll be there. There are usually 30 people in each stream, and I think it's like less than $3 too. 6. So are you actually paying $25,000? Yes, I am. That's a lot of money, but my brother needs my help to cut ties with that cringe lord, so I have to. But I got savings, so I can just do that. So, if you wanted to meme about my dad, do it, and I got permission from my brother, so you'll be all fine. Oh yeah, I will talk about this on stream again since I want to use him for content more. So I'll hear your opinions there, everybody. See you there on stream. October 27th. At 10 p.m. in Japan time, my dad ruined my family. We'll be live on YouTube. And I will talk about how it went too. And yeah, the memberships actually helped me out too. So thank you so much.
Yeah. So, in case anybody has not seen Sora the Troll before, that's my boy out in Nippon, as they once called it. I mean, it's still called that. It's just not used as often anymore. Okay. I'm gonna readjust the audio. Okay. Let's refocus here. Let's focus. So, I saw that Mr. Brad had some words to say about this in the chat. What were your thoughts, Mr. Brad? Are you still there?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of us are going through that right now, where it's like we're getting gaslit, and the people who are, I mean, and it could be, I mean, people who are doing it have all kinds of different modalities. Some of them are like that are like, they're just kind of like trash, and then act like trash. Some people are really wealthy and still act like trash towards their family. Mm-hmm. You know, or, you know, middle class, or, you know, I mean, like, it doesn't really matter. There's a lot, I mean, like, it actually is, it's worse when there's money involved, or a lack of money involved.
Yeah.
You know, and that always makes things, like, at least an order or two magnitude worse. Mm-hmm. You know, so, you know, and a lot of it oftentimes does revolve around money. Mm-hmm. And it's stupid. Mm-hmm.
Stupid is as stupid. Stupid is as stupid does. Next topic.
A massive mob of Israeli settlers invaded the Palestinian town of Tuwani in the occupied West Bank. Settlers invaded this privately owned Palestinian garden at 5 in the morning.
So, Israeli settlers invade Tuwani in the West Bank. All right, we're back. So I'm using my tablet and it does that. It's a beta. It's a beta cuck. I'm just kidding. Okay, cut that out. Cut that out. We're not cutting that out. Okay, that's gonna be the one time I say that word, especially when we're going topics. Okay, it had nothing to do with this topic, by the way, everybody. It had nothing to do with this. Okay. Anyway, Israeli settlers invade Tuwani, which is in the West Bank, and I have that highlighted right here. It's a little bit south of Hebron. Whoa, we're going back.
A massive mob of Israeli settlers invaded the Palestinian.
Oh my God. Okay. So, yo. And this is a video right from Mondoways. To me, it sounds like two different names put together. I honestly don't know why this page is called that, but this is from Instagram. Mondowiss. Mondoways. On Instagram. That's my sequensy shirt. I had to wear it for this occasion. Alright, so she be talking about what's going on out there in Tuwani, and it ain't good. It ain't good. So the West Bank, for those of you that may not know, is a reservation basically out in Palestine for the indigenous Palestinian people. I can't really say it's for them, it's rather for the Israelis, so that they can be out of sight, out of mind, until they want the land that they stand on. So here's the tea from the West Bank. Tuwani.
A massive mob of Israeli settlers invaded the Palestinian town of Tuwani in the occupied West Bank. Settlers invaded this privately owned Palestinian garden at 5 in the morning under the pretext of performing a religious ritual.
The military arrived first, locking down the village, blocking off roads, and setting up soldiers with assault rifles on Palestinian rooftops. Then the settlers arrived, many armed and some half-dressed in military uniforms. The settler mob were escorted by the Israeli military as they rode into this Palestinian town on buses.
Not only was the family who owns the garden locked in their homes for the duration of this ritual, but so was the entire town of Tuwani. The Palestinians stayed up all night in anticipation, knowing that nothing good ever comes from a settler invasion.
Palestinians watched on as they performed their ceremony unbothered. Many wondered how long until Israel would use the alleged archaeological site in the Palestinian garden as the pretext for the forcible displacement of the entire village.
A common tactic used to expel Palestinians and steal more of their land. One that was used to displace the neighboring town of Susia, a Palestinian village that was forcibly displaced in the 1980s, only to be replaced with a Jewish woman.
Around 7:30, the settlers left, and a brave young girl waved a Palestinian flag at the retreating soldiers, who in return pointed their guns and raised an Israeli flag.
This is what ethnic cleansing looks like.
Oh yeah, dude. In real time, too. Ain't that something else? I'm trying to zoom out the right amount. I don't know. There we go. Alright. Just notice the mouse clicker is making it refocus over and over again. So we're going to move on to the next topic here. Another topic from Palestine. So this is an olive farmer, Hussam Abu Salameh, murdered. Well, listen to him.
A massive mob of Israeli settlers invaded the Palestinian town of Tuwani in the occupied West Bank. Settlers invaded this privately owned Palestinian garden at 5 in the morning under the pretext of performing a religious.
اجت دورية من الجهة الجنوبية من جهة جلبون مباشرة وقف وصار يطلق النار علينا مباشرة يعني مش تحذيري مباشرة. أنا لابس طاقية رفعت الطاقية وشوح له وأقول له خلص وهو يطلق النار علي. حملت مفرش الزيتون من تحت الزيتون وقعد بركض بالدار شارد فيه ومرتي صارت شاردي عند التراكتور واللي هي بتصيح علي حسام الصوابت. حملنا أجل الأمبولانس نزلناها بالسيارة على الأمبولانس والأمبولانس على المستشفى. بعد نص ساعة أو ربع ساعة 3 ساعة بالمستشفى أعطونا خبر إنه المرأة استشهدت.
So, that's, Hussam Abu Salameh, 62, went to harvest olives with his wife and returned with her body. Hanan Abu Salameh, 59, was shot and killed by Israeli forces on October 17th, 2024, while harvesting olives in the West Bank village of Fakua near. Well, I made an oopsie with the names. I wish I had noticed this before I finished this, but the name, her name is only a 4-letter difference, but her name was Hanan, while his Husam, and whoopsie, I meant to write Hanan. So I don't know if she's an olive farmer, but I mean, I would guess, if she had her own thing of olives, maybe she could have been an olive farmer. That's a very common position, or not position, that's a very common trade for a lot of Palestinian people, to be involved with olives one way or another, because it's indigenous to Palestine. So, yeah. And I'll go ahead and say that, but I will read what he says this time to give a little context to his experience.
A massive mob of Israeli settlers.
An Israeli military vehicle, we're going to keep trying to go. An Israeli military vehicle came from the southern side. It stopped suddenly and a soldier got out and started shooting at us directly. The shooting was not a warning, it targeted us directly. I waved at him with the cap I was wearing on my head, saying, "Enough, enough, enough." But he continued firing at us. I tried to grab the olive net, which was under the tree, to escape with it. My wife was hiding behind the tractor and calling for me. Husam, Husam, I've been shot. We carried her. We transferred her to the hospital by my son's car till we found an ambulance in another town. Half an hour after we reached the hospital, they told me that my wife had died. Had been killed. So, this is a very commonplace tragedy in Palestine, in the reservations there, and it has been a commonplace tragedy before October 7th in Gaza. This is what Gaza was like before. However, it was definitely more of a daily military ordeal where nobody knew if their house was going to get bombed. Nobody knew if they were going to be losing a family member by them getting shot by the IDF at the border. So it was a slow but very consistent act of genocide against the people out there. Whereas this is a story from the north of the West Bank there. You'll see it's very close to Jenin. We can zoom in. Right? This is where that happened. And, the violence obviously still happens out there. But just in the Gaza Strip, it has been the absolute most violent. And now, obviously, it is, it's unmeasurable in terms of the magnitude. I mean, it is measurable, but it's just, it's not even. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next topic here.
Yeah, the people they won't leave, what is threatening about divesting on that piece. The problem is
Yeah.
Texas, what they're protesting. It goes against what our country is funding. Block the barricade until Palestine is free. Block the barricade until Palestine is free. When I was 7, I learned a lesson from.
So this is a song from Macklemore. Yeah. So that's a clip from the front and back entrance. This is a post from pal_action, Palestine Action on Instagram. Front and back entrance to APCO, paid lobbyists of Israel's biggest weapons firm, are officially locked off. The lobby group may boast of their power and ability to access our government and politicians enable a genocide, but we just shut them down, using our power for the second time in weeks. Support the ongoing action at APCO, 40 Strand, London. Some crazy London address there. WC2N5RW. Whatever that means. So, yeah, as you can see in the image, the video is a demonstration of people covered in blood and whatnot, handcuffing themselves and essentially causing a little bit of havoc there, so that the people that try to go to work gonna be a little bit, what's the word? Obstructed, much like all the obstruction they're doing to the lives of people in Gaza and Palestine. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Can I get an amen again with that? Okay.
Free, free Palestine! 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 Free, free.
I'm guessing he was getting a little bit chilly with that scarf around the neck. So this has a caption to it. Let's see. There it is. It says, actionists make our message loud and clear in the face of police working to protect the lobbyists of Israeli weapons firm Elbit Systems. Next topic. Oh, this is a nice one. So, winter clothing is being provided by Kuwait to Gaza. So, you can see here all the little ones lining up. And, you know, we're going to do our best here this winter. So, the caption there says, "Thanks to Allah, with the contribution of the people of Kuwait, Zainab distributed winter clothes and shoes to the displaced children in the tents." And that comes from Mohammed underscore Fayek, Fayq, on Instagram. Check him out. Okay. I'm gonna set this aside. Here we go. Alright, let's check out the next topic.
Is unacceptable, as are all other forms of bigotry. There's a difference between anti-Semitism and people coming to the assumption on their own volition that Ethan might be defending Israel a little bit and therefore might have some...
So this is the Ethan versus Hasan drama. Let me give you a little bit of context behind this. So this is from Hasan Abi. This Hasan Pikar. I don't remember how his last name's supposed to be pronounced. A lot of people say Piker just because we're American, okay? But it's like Pikar or some fancy like that. He's Turkish. So he's a big Turkish dude, both literally and like, what is it, metaphorically or whatever, online. So he's very well known on the internet, and he's also relatively tall. Not it. No. Yeah. Could you do the clapping again? There we go. Perfect. I had to switch the microphone back. But yeah, he's pretty tall. Not as tall not as tall as our producer here, our co-host. So yeah, but Ethan Klein, he's very well known, Jewish dude, Jewish American or whatever. I don't know what his ethnicity is apart from that. But no, he's pretty well known in the like podcasting sphere and the internet comedy sphere. Exactly. He hasn't really put out any bangers. No bangers in a long time. Yeah, that's a perfect depiction on how many bangers Ethan has put out in a long. So, yeah. Okay. Alright. But yeah. Ethan Klein. He basically, yeah, he's known to be a goober, a goof, a gooner, all the above. And, however, ever since he started his podcast, he's been notorious for basically putting his foot in his mouth. So I think, yeah, it's one of those circumstances where it would have been better to, like, save it for the editing room. Or, like, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Think before you speak, I guess, right? But, and that's why it took me so long to do this, because I was like, I want to like make sure I'm not talking out of my rear end as best as I can. Exactly. Yeah, so anyway, Ethan, that's him. That's him. He's something else. He's basically made his big break on YouTube with doing reaction videos. But his reaction videos were pretty fun, you know, very comical. They're much like the reaction videos you might see nowadays where people like dress up in disguises. Oh, well, not disguises, but in costumes that match like the theme of what we're reacting to and do little skits and all that. That's kind of what he did. Except it was like pretty much all improv most of the time. So anyway, that's Ethan. And I actually watched him at the time when he was actually making that transition. I caught him at the very early part of 2017. It was roughly March 2017, I would say. Because it was about 1 month after finding Filthy Frank. And yeah, basically I don't know. I found a video of them just like chilling and doing something, and I was like, okay, these are some people. I'll check them out. And, you know, I became fans of them, and within, it must have been August when they started their podcast, because it wasn't that long after I found them. So, I guess 5 months after I found them, they started their podcast, and I supported them, and I loved watching their podcast at first. And I definitely remember that moment in the beginning that everybody talks about, which is when he had Joji on the podcast, Joji Miller, and he made the face, like the cringe face behind Ethan when he said like a really horrible thing at the time, which he basically said that women just want to be conquered in a nature setting. And Joji's face is just like the biggest frown ever. Is golden. So, I don't remember if that's brought up in this clip, but that is often brought up with Ethan. So that's basically Ethan in a nutshell. Yeah. So, however, though, to catch you up to speed with this Ethan versus Hasan thing, basically ever since October 7th, Ethan, with his Jewish heritage and his misalignments, it has manifested in this concoction where he basically is saying, I don't support the genocide in Gaza, but if you hurt my feelings just because you say that the Israeli people are doing it, then I'm gonna try to cancel you. Or whatever. You know, basically, he's ready to go fisticuffs and to claim everybody's being anti-Semitic when we're just being anti-Zionist. Come on, buddy. So, that's Ethan, okay? And then Hasan over there, like I said, he's a Turk. He's a big Turk. He spent most of his time out in Turkey. He came over here when he was about late teens, roughly, because he said he basically, when he was out there watching Disney Channel, they did not have what we had, okay? He ended up basically watching like Disney Channel a few years after the fact. Yeah. So Hasan basically grew up with a very completely Turkish upbringing, came out here, I don't know, at some point along the way he decided to become a streamer and got into political, and we're back. Yep. So I'm doing a very similar thing right now. However, I'm doing it with a little more nativeness. No, a lot more nativeness, because most people that talk about this. Yep. But he talks about socialism, and I, on the other hand, I'm going to be talking a lot about anarchy here. So, yeah, they basically teamed up, Ethan and Hasan, they teamed up a couple years ago for a podcast that was on Ethan's channel, and it was called Leftovers, and it's where they get together and talk about political stuff, I guess, and whatnot. Some sort of philosophies of those natures. And I honestly did not tune into any one of those podcasts. I didn't even know anything about Hasan when he had Hasan on. I heard about him vaguely through the ether, and people were saying they loved him and all that. Care, and I didn't care to watch the podcast because by that point I was not listening to Ethan anymore because his foot was like comfortably in his mouth. So yeah, I didn't want to be there for that. But basically ever since October 7th, like I said, Ethan's going wah wah, and Hasan is like, you know, pretty normal and human, and he's like, yeah, genocide, no. Altogether, no. Zionism, no. This is not good. This is basically Nazism, but, like, for Jews to, like, hate Palestinians mainly, but everybody else as well, because it includes that, kind of. Yeah, so, and you know what? Zionists, not Jews. And anybody that claims to be a Jew and that claims Zionism at the same time, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Y'all ain't a Jew. Okay? So we're going to be talking about people, this is going to be a consistent theme on this podcast. I'm going to just but I'm going to lay that on the table there. I personally, as a person, this goes for basically any sort of, group of people that considers themselves to be God-loving and following natural law and all that. These two things cannot go together. The Torah and the Talmud, they don't go together. And I'm not the only person that basically says, sacred teachings do not go with the wicked teachings. This is a common thing. Basically, every tribe on this planet has this same principle. The evil teachings, they do not go with the good teachings. The evil teachings are only learned and taught so that we know how to deal with them if people actually use them against us and the people that we love. Thank you. So basically, Hasan versus Ethan. Let's get into the tea. This is just a highlight, and this highlight really just, sums it up. But yeah, basically, they've had a bit of a falling out. I'll just, put it lightly. Their podcast basically went on an indefinite hiatus as soon as October 7th happened. And Ethan, like I said, he decided to grab that Zionist... to grab the Zionist flag and started waving it, which is actually the State of Israel flag. Okay? So... ever since then, the podcast was indefinitely on hiatus, and Hasan wasn't really saying anything about it. He didn't really want to talk about Ethan because he respected him as a friend. But Ethan, after an entire year of it gradually coming to this point where he would talk about Hasan more and more, has been at this point where he's just talking about the people around him, and he's been talking a little bit about him. And so we're going to get a summary of basically of some of the tea that's been going on. But ultimately, Ethan does not like it when people that are pro-Palestinian like to make jokes about Israelis. That's basically what the drama is here right now. And he's been actively getting people banned off of Twitch. Or at least contributing greatly to it. So I'm going to switch the audio so you can hear better. Okay.
Is unacceptable, as are all other forms of bigotry. There's a difference between anti-Semitism and people coming to the assumption on their own volition that Ethan might be defending Israel a little bit and therefore might have some Zionist opinions because of the past 12 months of an ongoing genocide and his coverage on the matter, centering himself as he looks to ban prominent pro-Palestinian voices off the platform with ridiculous smears that they are being anti-Semitic. That's it. I think a lot of people fail to consider that when I choose not to show certain things coming from Ethan's side, it is not because I'm fearful of the brilliant points that he's making. It's more so that it's disappointing, it's sad to see, and beyond that, it's more so to, in some ways, not present him in the worst possible light that he is desperately presenting himself as.
We gotta talk about this Twitch dumpster fire, because there are actually several different news stories happening here, though kind of at the center of it, you have Ethan Klein, Hassan Piker, and a creator by the name of Frogan. But where we'll start is with the fact that over the past few days, we've seen the platform accused of ignoring anti-Semitism by creators like Ethan Klein. Multiple content creators have been banned for what were deemed hateful comments, and all of the fallout that's come from that as creators and fans go after one another. Though technically, you could say that all of this started when Asmongold made his horrendous comments last week degrading Gazans, which, as we covered on...
But we could also say it goes back before 1948. This is the part where you do the kick snare. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Oh my god. I love this soundboard. I can't wait until we can expand the sounds. Okay. Exactly. Exactly. Give me a quack. Give me a quack. Yeah. Get a couple of quacks. Do a little song. I don't know what this song is. What's the song?
Shaving hair.
Huh? Yeah, I could hear it. I don't know what the song was, though.
A lot like bump on it, not that.
Oh. Look at you. Yeah, I can't really tell when it's all one tone, but yeah. Close enough. Nardwar. Shout out. Okay.
Spanish or English?
Huh?
Spanish or English?
English.
Spanish or English?
Spanish.
Okay, got it.
Okay, next topic. Okay, we're getting to the very final stretch here. These are the last two topics. And we've been going for 2 hours. This is crazy. Okay. So this is updates from Kamal Adwan. So I'm going to zoom in here so we can see that on the map. In Palestine. Oh my god. It's just right on the top part of the Rafah, beyond the Rafah border crossing there in Gaza, so just at the south there. And I looked it up, and Kamal Adwan is not. This is insane that it's showing that. Like, this is the updates from Kamal Adwan. Because when I looked up Kamal Adwan, it showed me a elementary school. I think. Either that or a hospital. I think it might have been an elementary school, though. So, either way, the location that they're at has, like, nothing to do with being tied up and humiliated, and potentially, you know, ready for execution. I mean, what? They're sat in front of a tank, aren't they? This is, yeah. So this is, updates from Kamal Adwan, Friday, October 25th at 3 p.m. in Gaza, which was roughly about 12 hours ago, generally, I would say. So the updates are yesterday, Thursday, October 24th, early afternoon, Kamal Adwan was not besieged. Afternoon, heavy shelling on Kamal Adwan. Evening, tanks withdrew and went into Beit Lahia as the UN trucks arrived with some fuel and medicine. Today, Friday, October 25th, 6:30 today. Director of Kamal Adwan Hospital. Yeah, so it was a hospital. In northern Gaza, the windows of patients' rooms in the hospital were shattered due to the ongoing Israeli bombing. Director of Kamal Adwan Hospital in northern Gaza. Injuries among the hospital's medical staff due to the ongoing Israeli bombing. 7 a.m. today. Tanks surround Kamal Adwan Hospital north of the Gaza Strip and target its departments. This is normal, guys. This is totally normal. They're the chosen ones, guys. I mean, what did they say? They have something under the hospital? They didn't say that this time, but surely, guys. I mean, it's just, I mean, really. I mean, the United States too. We also know better because, you know, if they have weapons of mass destruction, then we gotta get them. But I think those weapons were something else, weren't they? I don't remember what they were. But Because it definitely wasn't that. It was something else that they were actually going after out there. They were just being discreet about it. I mean, a part of that is that, like, a part of the convenient thing about all this is that, like, they're destroying history in this process of all these bombings. They're destroying historic sites, and I'm not just saying in Gaza. I'm saying like worldwide. Like that's what was going on in Syria, and so many other places. When they do these things, they're destroying the evidence that they have been participating in human slavery. Unlike this global cult has been participating in human slavery since the beginning, practically. And that not only that, like we have traces of us being an advanced civilization, of being an advanced race of people, but we're in the Stone Ages right now. Isn't that what they say? We're in the Stone Ages with our technology. You want to chime in on that real quick, Brad?
Yeah, like it's like 100 years behind. Like the apparent secret space program and the classified physics and stuff that they've developed and reverse engineered from apparently other civilizations off of this planet. One of the sources, among many, but they're hiding it behind the classified paywall. And I mean, we know there's more than 6,000 patents that are basically not available to the public because they're classified. And, they're a national security secret, 6,000 patents.
Dang. And that's a lot of that is things they've stolen, right? That's the whole point of Nikola Tesla dying broke.
Yeah, well, the first thing they did after he passed away was they said that all of his documents, he was, just a crazy guy, and then they took all his documents and classified them.
Nice.
So it doesn't
Legit.
really jive together. But, I mean, one of the weird things is, like, Trump's uncle was apparently one of the guys involved in collecting all of Tesla's papers when he died. So, like, there is actually some kind of, like, weird Trump-Tesla connection that some people have, like, I mean, I don't know for sure. Don't take my voice as word on that. I'm just saying I've heard rumors.
What do they call his uncle?
My dad.
A Trumpkle. Or Trumple. Trumpkle. Something like that, right? Trumple?
Yeah. Before they changed their name to Trump, it was Trump. Trumf. Or PH. Donald Trump would be his name.
No way.
Yeah, Donald Trump.
You said grump or rump?
Trump.
Drump.
Trump. Yes.
Nice.
Here, let's spell it. Here.
Okay.
Rum, not Trumpy. Rum. There you go. Here, I'll put it in the chat. Rum.
You put it in the YouTube chat?
Can you imagine?
Good.
If it was like.
Oh,
They
nice.
elected Donald Trump
Drump.
into office. I mean, like, I think, I really do think one of the reasons why he is so successful, is because his last name is Trump.
Dude, that's so funny.
I'm not kidding. I think
Dude.
that's actually one of the things.
We need to start a campaign of exposing the goofiness in his last. That explains why he's such a goober. He can't escape it. He tried to mask it with this Trump ordeal. No. I see through your little ways. Huh?
He's the king of debt.
Yeah. He's the king of thickness, too. Not really. He's kind of been losing weight, right? Put that weight back on, Trump. It's good for you. But he should put on the vegan weight instead of at McDonald's. Gosh, get out of there. He literally put the fries in the bag, bro. Okay, I had to say that. I had to say that once. Okay. So let's get back to the tea here, which is the important tea. This is the news. So
Is unacceptable,
Whoa.
as are all other forms of bigotry. There's a difference between
There is a difference. Thank you, Hasan. Okay. Yeah. So 7 a.m. today, which is now yesterday, if you're in the East Coast time, tanks surround Kamal Adwan Hospital north of the Gaza Strip and target its departments. Gaza health director, a number of children were martyred in Kamal Adwan Hospital after the Israeli occupation bombed the oxygen station. 9:20 a.m. today, Gaza health director. The Israeli occupation siege of Kamal Adwan Hospital led to the martyrdom of wounded people who were prevented from reaching it. 9:30 a.m. today, director of nursing at Kamal Adwan Hospital. The occupation forces stormed the complex and evacuated the medical staff and the injured from it. This is looking very familiar because this is what was going on at the very beginning 1 year ago. And here we are now. And it's continuing. 9:50 a.m. today. The occupation army, and this is the moralist army in the world, guys. They're bombing a hospital. You know what? If y'all ain't been in the loop, they've been bombing preschools. They've been bombing everybody. And the thing is, they've been bombing preschools before October 7th. I saw images of preschools completely obliterated with little toddler bodies on the ground. Palestinian baby bodies on the ground. I saw all that years before this. I've been doing research on this years before this. They've been baby bombing the whole way. So if you come out in here into this chat and you thinking some, oh, the most moralist army in the... That stank. That stank, and I can smell it through the mic, okay? You need to detox that sensation that be going through your brain all toxic and nasty, okay? Anyway, getting back to the tea. 9:50 a.m. today, the occupation army, through loudspeakers, orders patient nursing staff at Kamal Adwan Hospital in the northern Gaza Strip to go down to the hospital yard. Okay, do you think that sounded like, what's his name from Batman? The dude that's got the muffled mouth? Like, what's his name? Like, what's that dude's name? I'm trying to remember what his name is. He's the dude that, like, raised, Batgirl.
I don't.
You're not a huge bat dude. Okay. Yeah. But I imagine that's how insane it sounded. And you know what's ridiculous about this? Is that, like, everybody in Gaza is being, like, gunned down by literal clowns. Like, because these can't even call them people, okay? These creatures, these things, these little things that they are, the IDF, they're literal clowns. They might as well be wearing a clown uniform when they're out there, doing what they do, acting the way they act. Good golly, because they be writing their woes. They be sowing them seeds. They be digging their grave. Because it's like, they be taking a picture, what, like within the first couple months, we had people taking pictures, like, haha, like spray painting people's houses. What, 3 months later, 2 months later, that person be dead. Who's crying? Who's crying? Maybe the people that supported a baby bomber? This okay, okay. I'm gonna reel it in. I'm just getting a little salty over the fact that, people be bombing babies out here, okay? I'm just saying karma's coming for these people. We're gonna be talking about those stories. They will be incorporated in the coming podcast. We will be talking about the instances of people that make proposals, these IDF that make proposals to their wife. Oh, will you marry me? Written in the satanic Hebrew on the wall, and their spray paint all nasty. And then, what, 1, 2, 3 months later, and then we hear the news that that person has been hit by the resistance forces, and guess what? RIP. Now she's a widow, or a not married widow, whatever you call that, a widowed fiance. Okay? So they're shameful, living a shameful life. And I don't even know, honestly, I'm under the impression, because you saw what we were looking at earlier. The married man, his wife was taken out. Given that story, it shows me that these creatures that call themselves humans, that call themselves Jews, that are really just Zionist parasites, they've never felt a day of love in their life. Quite clearly. Because they're so hell-bent on destroying every bit of love and joy and happiness in this world. We can only assume that the spirit of the Israeli creatures and Zionist creatures dies in... The tea was a little too hot. Clearly. A little too hot. Okay? The spirit dies in these folks a little too early in their life. That's all I'm saying. That's the only way we can read these things. That's the only way these things happen. Their spirit died so early in their body to the point where it's just a country of jinn just piloting human meat flesh vessels. Okay, let's get back to the tea. 10 a.m. today. Head of the Euro-Mediterranean Human Rights Monitor. The occupation army kidnaps Aboud Battah from Kamal Adwan Hospital, subjecting him to torture, then taking him to an unknown location. There are serious concerns for his life. He has now been released and is posting about the experience. So, all in the time of preparing this and getting this ready to go, he went through all this and came back out. 11 a.m. Excuse me for getting a little too loud. 11 a.m. The occupation forces women and children to leave Kamal Adwan Hospital towards the Indonesian hospital in preparation for their exit towards western Gaza via Salah al-Din Street. The occupation forces arrest dozens of citizens from Kamal Adwan Hospital in the arrest. I'm not going to use that term, arrest, okay? It's just the connotation of that term. I mean, unless we can look up the etymology and see if that really is, I just want to say the word. Okay, I'm going to say what it is. The occupation forces kidnap dozens of citizens from Kamal Adwan Hospital in the northern Gaza Strip, force them to take off their clothes, and gather them in a large square. Okay, let's just say it like it is. Occupation forces human traffic dozens of citizens from Kamal Adwan Hospital in the northern Gaza Strip. Force them to take off their clothes. That's what people typically do when they traffic them. Expose their bodies, use it for their own means, right? And gather them in a large square. Until now, their fate is unknown. The terrorist occupation army, the most moral army in the world, guys. Let's give them a break. Just give them a break. They're just having a bad day. Anyway, the terrorist occupation army kidnaps and human traffics a number of citizens in the northern Gaza. Okay, you got me heated, okay? That you can hear it in my voice, okay? This is the blasphemous image of what is coming out of the south of the Gaza Strip. This blasphemy. Yeah. So this is another reminder to use the hashtag Israel Epstein connection. We gotta hit them where it hurts. They're in a big old web satanic cult. The dead man, this may be something that people don't want to hear. The dead man switch for Epstein getting caught and exposed was the Corona Chan virus. It came out immediately after. They were planning on doing a little bit of World War III with Iran. And then they were like, up, 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 up. The virus, it's ready to go. We got the plans. It's ready to go. Let's go. Come on, Bill. Release your fluids into the atmosphere, Bill. You know, those $1 billion fluids, Bill. Yeah. And then, you know, everybody had to ritualistically cover our mouths with a mask. And that is something that Kathy O'Brien's child had to do as a toddler from the ages of roughly like 2 or 3 to the ages of 7. Her daughter, while she was held as a sex slave, her own daughter, who also was that, because she was, you know, they were trafficked and mind controlled and all that. Her daughter basically had to wear one of those surgical masks on her face from that young age till 7, and there were more than one reason for that. The main reason, though, for the cult practices was for her and other children like her to lose their identity. And the other reason, obviously, was to cause, you know, health problems, because realistically, if you're restricting somebody's oxygen like that during those vital time span of development, while they're doing that simultaneously, the whole unidentifying, taking away their identity, it's making them so disabled while they're going through that they cannot cognitively see outside of that and think outside of that. So it's like being high on like laughing gas or something that would make them more susceptible. Being high on some sort of a drug called oxygen deprivation. See, I'm something of a scientist myself. No snare kick? Okay. Alright, so yeah, anyway, yeah, okay. As I was saying, I digress. Use the hashtag Israel Epstein Connections. Israel Epstein Connection. And we need to get a campaign going. Everybody that cares about Gaza, this is the Achilles heel. This is one of the Achilles heel, because technically there's like 2 Achilles heels on a human, but they're coming at it from a biblical sense because they like wrote the Revelations playbook, so they're like that weird beast that has all the heads and the crowns and whatever. So I don't know how many Achilles heels that thing's got, but you know, maybe if we could look at that book, maybe we got like 3 Achilles heels to go after. Anyway, let's move on to the very, very final subject of the night, which is a good way to wrap it up because it brings it back to the global cult that is trafficking kids, consuming kids, sacrifice, and we're back. But yeah, abusing, all the above. So we're going to look at David Shurter, an SRA survivor. I thought you were gonna do the claps. Yeah. Okay. David Shurter, SRA survivor. And this is a recent development for him as a person that openly speaks out against what he endured as a youth which is satanic ritual abuse. That's what SRA stands for on this channel. And in general, that's what it stands for. SRA. Excuse me. And that's how I found him. I was doing research because I wanted to find out what satanic cults are there near me then. What instances of Satanism are there that I can find so that I can, be more aware. And I found a story on his blog about a murder, the Oakland 4 or Oakland 7 or something like that. It was like a murder of a handful of teenagers out in Michigan and Oakland. And it was, in his words, a murder that was tied to his father. Like his father has ties to it. So that was how I found David Shurter. And I've been following him for about a year now. Tuning into his, actually about a year and a half roughly. I've been tuning in and out of his live streams and checking out his videos. And he's very, very well outspoken. And the cult has been going after him lately. Believe it or not, they go after satanic ritual abuse survivors because the cult is involved with the government and so on and so forth. And so, yeah, but because they've been targeting him over and over and over again, he's been in this weird back and forth where they're like basically gaslighting him into being like, okay, well, the law enforcement is responsible for addressing these things, so let me, give them the work that they're due to that they do. So the story we're about to get into is tied back to Gaza because these people all serve the same master. They're all a part of the same cult. I can guarantee you there's a good handful of IDF soldiers that actually are in this cult too. Because they're in it. Okay, so let's get into David Shurter.
The last week, how long have they been sending you pics of kids? It started last week. Everything is posted on my blog, except the pictures of the kids.
Yeah, so the tea is that the killers keep sending me pictures of kids. In his words, that's what they keep doing. And we're going to look at the evidence for that.
The last week, how long have they been sending you pics of kids? It started last week. Everything is posted on my blog, except the pictures of the kids. I won't post the pictures of the kids. You see that there's pictures there, but you won't see their faces. You won't see what the picture is. But my police have, because I just forward it to them. And then you go read the description. Go click on in the link in the description and go read that conversation. And he actually justifies why it's fucking okay to exploit fucking kids. But obviously it's okay because the fucking cops don't do shit. If you go and try and give it to them, tell them the information, give them a fucking report, they give you bogus information, they kick the can down the road and send you to places that don't even fucking exist. And yet they're the ones that everyone is supposed to respect.
Yeah. So here's an email from one of the people he attempted to contact with this information. David, and this is William Price. It seems to us that you cannot read and that your mental delusions cause you to jump to conclusions. We checked out your blog and we weren't referring to your nephew. We said nothing about your nephew, but you have the screenshots that you love to say you have of our emails, but couldn't bother to go back and read our emails when talking about Eric, who is not your nephew. The child that was in those text messages we sent you of you him is 17-year-old Eric something from Pennsylvania. We CC'd his father and informed him of what's going on. The bathtub videos are inappropriate since you were talking about missing little boys from the 80s while you're naked and wet. Really? I didn't mean to read it like... Yeah, this guy is freaking weird. As well as saving a picture of little Noah that my client Cregan sent you. Please stop, David. Next time I won't be so nice. In the image I sent to you is 7-year-old Eric something, who is not your nephew, but rather a young boy you've been having an inappropriate online relationship with. William Prince, PI/ATP Harlan IA. That's Iowa. And this is the attachment of the kid, one of the kids, whose images have been sent to him. And this is a means to instigate, basically, him, to try to plant evidence on him. This is the receipt. Okay, so this is from David Shurter. This is BS, but needs to be investigated. William Price was threatening supporters yesterday just listening to my chat. These child killers need to be stopped before they hurt anyone else, and they keep sending me pics of... I'm sure my Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross and his captain Chad Butler are fine with this, so expect nothing but them defending these jerks. And I have no idea who this kid is, nor am I speaking to anyone online. It isn't like I hang on platforms that attract kids. That would be this group that does that. So, yeah. And then he wrote, and then Jordan responded, and then we're gonna read that email there. So these child killers are also aware. Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff, or is it Indiana? Is he saying Iowa? Is he saying Indiana? I don't remember. Is IA in Iowa? Okay. Sheriff Neil Gross and his captain Chad Butler aren't going to do crap. Oh, I think he meant to say they're not going to do anything as well. And here's an example of what happened in my chat with yesterday's live YouTube. So we're going to read his response, though, to the emails. No one is going to investigate anything, you idiot. You've alienated yourself from your law enforcement and community, you dirty attention-seeking liar. Okay, so here's the deal about David Shurter. About that dirty attention-seeking liar. He's been getting harassed openly by the sheriff's department there. Oh, I need to zoom out of this one. That's what it is. Okay, he's been getting harassed a lot by the cult out there, essentially, through the government and other people. And so basically they come into his house and they do whatever, and he has evidence of it. Yeah, they basically have been like outright stalking, harassing, and threatening him for some time now, as I have alluded to earlier. And so when he says attention-seeking liar, what does someone do when they're being isolated by a group of people that are... And this is the thing, is that this is where the whole... I'm glad that BJ Investigates is mentioning this lately, but this is one of the symptoms of schizophrenia is to think that the government is after you. So it's looking more like schizophrenia at this point, at least in the medical industry, is relatively made up, apart from the actual disease of schizophrenia. They've come up with a new version of it. Schizophrenia 2.0. You're afraid of the government. So, yeah. Let's go on to the next little bit here. So this is an example of what was going on in his live stream. So William Price showed up and he said, Sherilyn, wait until we have you like we have David. And somebody's in the chat as Diddy. Do you see that, Brad? You see Diddy's in the chat? He's saying hi, Billy. I mean, oh, you know what? Technically, yeah, William can be Bill. So he might be saying hi. Oh, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. And it's funny, it's an interesting synchronicity, though, that this would happen within the last week, roughly, because I in a long time had not said anything towards freaking Not My Rabbit Hole, and I made a comment towards her, and I didn't even at her. And it's like, maybe she read my comment. I'm not saying she really did, but it's just an interesting synchronicity that, like, you know, this happened around the same time. I have to go back and check the time frame, because maybe I'm just derping, and maybe I, like, glanced at what was going on and then, like, wrote my comment towards her, but I don't know, because I'm kind of out of the loop. Because he's getting harassed constantly. Like, it's like, can he really even keep up with it? I think they're trying to keep him so busy. That's the point. That he's not really being all that productive with his own life, right? So we're gonna move on to the very last bit of evidence here tonight when it comes to this specific topic. And therefore, we're gonna be leaving this podcast on a cliffhanger. Because all this comes right back around to the global cult and how we all basically need to be anarchists and, you know, no masters, no slaves. So he's going to be mentioning something here about Johnny Goff. If anybody knows about this murder, you know, is going to be ringing a bell, or kidnapping rather. Obviously it's probably a murder at this point. So Johnny Gosh is a very, very, very well-known true crime story about a young man who was like a paper boy or a milk boy or whatever, from the 70s or 80s. And he basically, you know, just went off and did his thing in the morning like he usually would, or maybe it was a first-time job. I don't remember. But he basically went off to go do his morning paper route, and he basically didn't come back. And he was, according to what David Shurter says in this video, he was the first kid to be put on a milk carton. And so David Shurter here, and a satanic ritual abuse survivor, has some ties to that Johnny Gosh case. Let's take a listen.
Why things happened the way they did. Johnny Gosh gets abducted. Isn't it interesting that a child trafficking operation that's going on in Omaha, Nebraska, suddenly gets equated with one of 3 boys that disappear in another state, in another town? Johnny Gosh was only one of 3. Eugene Martin usually gets talked about. They don't even talk about the Mark Allen case. So everything that's going on in Omaha, Nebraska gets equated with the Johnny Gosch case. Despite the fact that Todd Beckett was there, he was, 13 years old when he was abducted from the old Mark. That never gets discussed. It's all about Johnny Gosch. And who abducted Johnny Gosch? Who was involved with Johnny Gosch? Michael Aquino. The very dude that's walking around on national television dressed as fucking Merlin. So people, if anyone wants to look into the Johnny Gosch case at the time, they look at Michael Aquino. He seems like an idiot on television with his little game that he was playing with Ted Gunderson, so it completely gets dismissed. And that's how it works. Then the situation comes up, and the whole Johnny Gosch case comes back up, because it's never really gone away, especially since he was the first milk carton child. So the case...
Back. Yep, so we're ending it on a banger there. That's pretty much all the tea I got for you for the Native Tea podcast. Yes, thank you. Miigwech to the producer Brad, GovCorp Watch on YouTube. Hagone.